You're waiting for your boss to change, to be clearer in their directions, more supportive when you face challenges, more consistent in their feedback. You hope they'll suddenly see things your way, or adopt a new management style that makes your work life easier. But they don't. The patterns persist, the frustrations mount, and the hope for an external shift slowly fades. And while you're waiting, you keep adjusting. Maybe you find yourself explaining every tiny detail of your work, hoping to preempt criticism. Or perhaps you start avoiding meetings where your boss is present, or reacting defensively to every email, crafting elaborate responses to simple requests. You might even start taking on extra work, believing that if you just prove your worth enough, things will improve. And somehow, it keeps getting worse. The more you adjust, the more entrenched the dynamic becomes, leaving you feeling drained and disempowered. As Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." This profound wisdom suggests an inner locus of control. But at work, especially in challenging situations with a difficult boss, it often doesn't feel that way. Because when someone else controls the environment, when their moods dictate the office atmosphere, or their unpredictable demands shape your daily tasks, it feels like they control your experience too. It feels like your peace of mind, your productivity, and even your career trajectory are at the mercy of their actions. Some bosses operate in patterns that don't change. These aren't temporary phases or occasional bad days. They are deeply ingrained behaviors that define their leadership style. They may be overly critical, constantly finding fault even in minor tasks, like nitpicking a report you spent hours perfecting or dismissing your achievements with a casual remark. Unclear with expectations, giving vague instructions, and then blaming you when the outcome isn't what they envisioned, leaving you constantly guessing and second-guessing. Reactive under pressure, lashing out at the team when deadlines loom or clients complain, creating a tense and unpredictable work environment where everyone walks on eggshells. They might also be inconsistent, praising you one day and criticizing you for the same thing the next, making it impossible to understand what they truly want. And it's not occasional. It's not a one-off incident you can brush aside. It's consistent. It's the recurring theme, the predictable pattern that defines your interactions and shapes your work experience day in and day out. And because it's consistent, your brain starts predicting it. This isn't a conscious choice. It's a survival mechanism. Your mind, in an effort to protect you, begins to anticipate the negative interactions. You walk into interactions already expecting tension, like bracing yourself before opening an email from them or feeling a knot in your stomach before a team meeting. Already preparing your response, rehearsing arguments in your head, or planning how to deflect potential criticism. Already adjusting yourself, changing your tone or approach before they even speak, trying to make yourself smaller or less noticeable to avoid conflict. So before anything even happens, before a single word is exchanged, you've already started reacting. Your body and mind are already in a defensive posture, and this preemptive reaction drains your energy and limits your ability to engage constructively. Most people try to manage the situation by reacting more. They believe that by intensifying their efforts to control the external situation, they can somehow change the outcome or protect themselves. You start overexplaining your work, adding unnecessary details to a simple update, providing exhaustive justifications for every decision, hoping to leave no room for critique. Double-checking everything, spending extra hours on tasks that should be straightforward, meticulously reviewing every comma and data point out of fear of their scrutiny, trying to say things perfectly, agonizing over every word in an email to avoid misinterpretation, or practicing conversations endlessly in your head. Or avoiding interaction altogether, sending a colleague to deliver news, delaying necessary conversations, or even taking longer routes to the break room to avoid bumping into them. You might become less visible, hoping to fly under the radar and escape their attention. These reactions feel logical. They feel like you're being diligent, thorough, and strategic. They feel like control, like you're proactively managing the risk and protecting yourself from their unpredictable behavior. You tell yourself that if you just work harder, explain more, or avoid conflict, things will get better. But they are still reactions. They are responses to an external stimulus, driven by fear or anxiety, rather than intentional choices. They are shaped by the environment, not chosen intentionally. Your actions are a direct consequence of their behavior rather than an expression of your own agency and values. And that's where the dynamic starts reinforcing itself. Your reactions, intended to solve the problem, inadvertently feed into the existing pattern, making it harder to break free. If you've noticed yourself reacting like this, if these patterns sound familiar, follow Daily Reset Lab for daily perspective. We offer insights and strategies to help you navigate complex professional dynamics and reclaim your inner calm. Your reactions are quietly strengthening the pattern. What you do in response, even if it feels protective, actually reinforces the very dynamic you're trying to escape. When you over-explain, like sending a 5-paragraph email for a simple yes-no question or elaborating endlessly in a meeting, you signal uncertainty, making your boss question your confidence and competence even if you are highly capable. This can lead them to micromanage you further. When you avoid, like consistently being too busy for a quick chat or deferring important discussions, you reduce visibility, making your boss wonder what you're hiding or if you're disengaged. This can lead to a lack of trust and missed opportunities for you. When you react emotionally, like getting visibly frustrated during a feedback session or letting their comments visibly upset you, you create more instability, confirming their perception of you as difficult or unpredictable and potentially inviting more of the behavior you dislike. So the environment doesn't just affect you. It's not a one-way street where you are merely a passive recipient of their actions. It shapes your behavior, which then feeds back into the environment. Your reactions become part of the problem, creating a self-perpetuating cycle where their behavior triggers your reaction, which in turn reinforces their behavior. And the cycle continues. It's a feedback loop, and until you change your input, the output will remain the same. And that's why it feels like nothing changes, because your attempts to cope, while understandable, are actually contributing to the stagnation of the situation. You don't break the pattern by reacting better. You don't win by perfecting your defensive maneuvers or becoming a master of avoidance. You break it by responding differently. This is a fundamental shift from being driven by external stimuli to being guided by internal intention. That means not explaining everything, trusting your initial concise answer and letting it stand, even if it feels uncomfortable. Not reacting immediately, taking a breath before replying to a provocative email or responding to a sudden demand, creating space for a thoughtful response. Not adjusting to every signal, sticking to your planned agenda even if your boss seems agitated, and maintaining your professional boundaries. It means choosing your battles and deciding what truly warrants your energy. A response is intentional. It comes from a place of conscious choice, not automatic impulse. It's not based on pressure. It's not about appeasing or defending. It's about acting in alignment with your own values and goals. It's based on clarity. Clarity about what you can control, what you want to achieve, and how you want to show up. So instead of asking, "How do I deal with them?" which focuses on their behavior and your reaction to it, you start asking, "What am I doing automatically that I can stop doing?" This question shifts the focus inward, empowering you to identify and change your own contributions to the dynamic. And that's where control starts to return. Not control over your boss, but control over yourself, your actions, and ultimately, your experience. The solution isn't changing your boss. That's often beyond your sphere of influence, and waiting for it can lead to endless frustration. It's changing the pattern you participate in. It's about recognizing your role in the dynamic and choosing to alter your part. Small shifts matter. You pause before responding, giving yourself a moment to choose your words instead of blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, allowing for a more measured and effective communication. You simplify your communication, focusing on facts and outcomes rather than justifications or emotional appeals, making your message clearer and less open to misinterpretation. You stop over-adjusting, presenting your work confidently without preemptive apologies or excessive self-criticism, trusting in your own competence. These are not techniques or tricks to manipulate the situation. They are interruptions to the pattern. Each small, intentional shift you make breaks the established cycle, creating a ripple effect. And once the pattern breaks, the dynamic changes. Even if your boss's core personality remains the same, the way they interact with you will inevitably shift because your responses are no longer feeding their established patterns. Even if the person doesn't, your experience of the situation transforms because you are no longer a passive participant in a negative loop. And that's how you start working differently. In the same environment, you gain agency, reduce stress, and create a more sustainable and empowering professional life for yourself. So your boss may not change. Their habits, their personality, their leadership style might remain exactly as they are. But the way you operate around them can. Your internal landscape, your responses, and your boundaries are entirely within your control. And that shift is where things start to feel different. It's where you reclaim your power, find your peace, and truly thrive, regardless of external circumstances. Subscribe to Daily Reset Lab for more perspective like this. Join our community for ongoing support and strategies to navigate your professional journey with greater clarity and confidence.